Hello everyone, I am Langers, and today I'm going to be unlocking every trophy in SAROS. Now I'm a huge fan of Housemarque's previous game Returnal. In fact, I'd go as far as saying it's the best PS5 exclusive title. However, the Platinum Trophy in that game was a bit of a pain to unlock due to the heavy amount of RNG that affected collectibles, so let's see how unlocking the Platinum in SAROS compares against it. If you've watched my video for RE9, you'll know that I didn't talk too much about the story in that game, and the same will apply here with SAROS as well. At the start of SAROS we have a short tutorial section which gets us used to the movement and abilities, as well as the shield which was absent in Returnal, and a new addition to the gameplay formula in SAROS. At the end of the tutorial we take on a mini boss but get absolutely destroyed. On the bright side though, we earn our first trophy, Come Back Stronger. We reawaken back at the passage, which is the hub area in SAROS, and after speaking to all of the NPCs there, we enter the first biome, the Shattered Rise. Shortly into the Shattered Rise we interact with a monolith and unlock our first power, which is a secondary weapon alongside our firearm and can be recharged by absorbing blue projectiles with the shield. We earn the Relentless trophy for landing 50 consecutive shots on hostiles with the rifle. We interact with a device and enter the Eclipse, where enemies become more dangerous, but Lucinites and Halcyon, two of the game's resources, become more plentiful. We survive for a bit but end up dying to an alpha threat, and return back to the passage where we unlock Primary, a machine that allows us to spend Lucinite and Halcyon and unlock skills within the armor matrix. What I like about SAROS is that even though we died, we still retain half of the Lucinite we gathered, so we can still unlock a few skills. We return back to the Shattered Rise to find that the biome geometry has completely changed, and we unlock the Approach Vector trophy for dispatching a shielded hostile with a mid-air melee attack. At the end of the biome we take a teleporter to the entrance of the Overlord, which is the main boss present at the end of each biome. We take on the first Overlord named the Prophet. We get killed pretty quickly. On the next attempt we make it to the third phase, but sadly he once again destroys us. Back at the Primary we notice there's a second chance skill that we can unlock, which should come in handy, but it's not quite available to us just yet. We once again make it back to the Prophet, and at this point the mechanics are really starting to click and we're getting more and more used to balancing our dash and our shield, but once again we sadly fall victim to the Prophet during the third phase. On the plus side though, we earn another trophy, Break the Cycle, for absorbing 2021 projectiles using the shield. Now with enough Lucinite we also unlock the second chance skill, which should come in massively helpful throughout the rest of the game. We take on the Prophet once again and finally defeat it, which unlocks our next trophy. Back at the passage we find that we've now unlocked the World Dial, which we can use to select different biomes to travel to, and we unlock a handful more skills and head to the next biome, the Ancient Depths. Shortly into exploring the Ancient Depths we unlock the Jump Network, which allows us to access new areas and previously inaccessible areas in the Shattered Rise. We also obtain the shotgun, but decide to swap it out for the rapid fire rifle later on in the biome. We pick up the Dispiritor power and earn our next trophy, Atrophy, for damaging 5 hostiles simultaneously with its projectiles. Moving on we unlock the Ancient Depths Vault and head in to take on the next Overlord, Bastion. We do end up being killed, but we unlock our 7th trophy for using the second chance upgrade for the first time. We get Bastion down to a fraction of health but get taken out by a wall of projectiles. On our 4th attempt though, we finally defeat Bastion and unlock our next trophy. We return to the passage and have now unlocked Carcosan modifiers, which grant us different gameplay benefits but must be balanced by applying trials, which makes certain elements of the game more difficult. I did consider using no modifiers until we'd beaten the game fully, but the Carcosan Cartographer trophy requires us to complete 33 cycles with modifiers equipped, so we equip the damage modifier tier 1 to start making progress towards this trophy. We head into the next biome, the Shattered Descent, and unlock the grapple hook as well as the overdrive ability. This biome is fairly short and we make it to the next Overlord, Rabdon, but die due to being totally unprepared for how aggressive and mobile he is compared to the first 2 Overlords. On our second attempt though, we take him down by outmaneuvering his projectiles with the grapple hook and unlock our 9th trophy. Shortly into the next biome, the Blighted Marsh, we obtain the crossbow and use it to unlock the All Shall Bow trophy. We earn another combat trophy shortly afterwards for defeating 5 enemies with a single blast from the Prominence power. During the Blighted Marsh we unlock the parry ability, which allows us to parry the red Nova projectiles that can't be dashed through. And at the end of the Blighted Marsh, which in comparison to the Shattered Descent definitely felt like the longest biome in the game, we take on the next Overlord, Legion. Sadly though, we get our ass kicked pretty quickly and we'll need to get better at parrying the red Nova projectiles to make it through the fight. The bigger problem, however, is that we can't even make it back to the Overlord since we keep dying while in the Blighted Marsh. We edit our modifiers to reduce incoming damage and balance it by receiving less Lucenite upon returning to the passage, and hopefully this will make our time with the biome a little bit easier. And surprise surprise, it absolutely does. We also avoid activating the Eclipse until we've cleared out most of the basic enemies, and only activate it when we need to gain access to the Overlord. We take on the Legion once again, and using the overcharge we saved up, we take it out in a couple of minutes and unlock the next trophy. We return back to the Shattered Descent to activate the bridge and enter the next biome, the Desecrated Fortress. We enter the Eclipse and find an Eclipse thread, which we can interact with to traverse long distances quickly. We find the Novalance power and unlock the Angle of Attack trophy for defeating a hostile using a Ricochet Blast. We make it through the Desecrated Fortress and onto the next Overlord, the Architect. This was quite a tense but entertaining fight, and we actually end up defeating it on the first attempt, thanks to the overdrive that we've saved up, and unlock our next trophy. We return back to the passage and unlock the Never Let Go trophy for completing Act 1 of the story. Shortly into the next biome, the Acolyte's Haven, we earn the Catch and Release trophy for using the shield to absorb 3 power bars and using a power weapon to defeat a hostile. We also obtain the Chakram and use it to damage 4 hostiles within 2 seconds to unlock the Vicious Circle trophy. At the end of the Acolyte's Haven, we take on the next Overlord, the Shepherd, which is another challenging but fun fight, and we also take this Overlord down on the first attempt. We accidentally head too far into the next biome, the Cathedral, and pass the teleporter back to the passage. At the time of playing it was like 2 in the morning and I had to log off, so I ended up returning to the passage via the main menu, which led to us losing almost all the Lucenite that we've earned from the Shepherd, thanks to the annoying trial that we have active. We decide to edit our modifiers once again, and we increase the damage dealt to tier 3, balancing it out by increasing the amount of corruption damage we take, which may end up being a bit of a risk. Back in the Cathedral, we earn the Radiance trophy for damaging 3 hostiles simultaneously using the Illume power, and we head up a large set of stairs hoping to find the next Overlord, but instead we're met with a room full of enemies which absolutely slaughter us. Because of this, we remove the Corruption Enhancement modifier since we pretty much need all the health we can get. On the next cycle, we make it past this room and onto the next Overlord, the Priestess. The Priestess was probably the most intense fight in the entire game, as it had 3 very unique phases to work through and an ever-changing arena in the second and third phase. Yet again, we defeat the Overlord on the first try and earn our next trophy. Back at the passage, we earn a trophy for completing Act 2 and head into the final biome, the Yellow Shore. We try to be extra careful in this biome as our second chance is turned off by default. We do however unlock the Blazing Strike upgrade, which allows us to break the yellow barriers that we've seen throughout the game. After a short but intense time making it through the Yellow Shore biome, we confront the final Overlord, the King, and to put it simply, we get our asses handed to us. However, we don't give up, and during the next cycle of the Red Shore, we earn the Bullet Paradise trophy for dispatching 1,995 regular hostiles, as well as the Carcosan Conqueror trophy for encountering and defeating 10 alpha hostiles. We take on the King for a second time, and somehow, I'm still not quite sure, we end up beating it by the skin of our teeth. In doing so, we unlock the King trophy, as well as the Blazing Throne trophy for completing Act 3. And with that, we've officially completed the game, kind of. We still do need to complete the epilogue. Look at the passage, we're given a new objective of finding the Signal Origin in the Shattered Descent. We head to the Shattered Descent and speak with Kayla, who sends us to the Blighted Marsh. In the Blighted Marsh, we find the Red Tree, as well as our first Nightmare Strand. Nightmare Strands are optional challenge areas with difficult enemies, but more rewards. I still have nightmares about the challenge rooms in Returnal, so I've purposefully avoided these areas in Saros in case they ruin any of our cycles. We return to the passage and enter the Banyan Tree for the first time, earning us the Strange is the Night trophy. We enter the Banyan Tree a couple more times as required for the epilogue, and then head back to the Cathedral. While in the Cathedral, we attempt the next Nightmare Strand, but get absolutely destroyed. On the next attempt, we complete the Nightmare Strand and clear the Cathedral biome. We then head back to the passage and enter the Banyan Tree for the last time and unlock the Shattered Glass trophy. With the epilogue requirements completed, we return to the Yellow Shore and make our way back to the King, but get absolutely clapped. In the next cycle, we unlock the Soltari R&D trophy for unlocking and utilising all traits and variants of a weapon. We eventually defeat the King for a second time, but like a total idiot, we interact with the Overlord instead of going through the gate at the back of the arena and unlock the wrong ending. Which means yet again we need to clear the Yellow Shore and defeat the King. this point, I'm satisfied that we've completed the game as intended by the devs, so we enable the unlimited modifiers option to make the journey back to the king a bit easier. This time, after beating the king, we go through the gate and we earn the Let Go trophy for unlocking the true ending. Now that we're done with the story, it's time to begin cleaning up the remaining trophies, of which there are 16. Included in the remaining trophies are a handful of combat related ones, such as dispatching 30 hostiles using overdrive during a single cycle, staggering 2 hostiles simultaneously with 1 parry, damaging 7 hostiles within 5 seconds using hand cannons, and defeating 25 hostiles with all main and power weapons. This one is especially annoying since there's no in-game tracker for exactly how many kills we have with each weapon and power, only the number of kills that we have in total, so we'll have to guess which weapons and powers we still need kills with, based on the weapons and powers that we've used so far. We also have a few collectible trophies to unlock, such as collecting 20 integrity augments and 70 halcyon. Then there's the survival based trophies, like surviving a total of 33 expeditions, and completing a biome without taking any damage or losing adrenaline. Our first focus though is to complete the Nightmare Strands, which we've mostly avoided until now. We've done the Blighted Marsh and Cathedral Strands, but we still have 5 more to go, starting with the Shattered Rise. Near the start of the biome we collect the hand cannon to start racking up some kills, and we unlock the Enforcer trophy for damaging 7 hostiles within 5 seconds with it. We also complete the Nightmare Strand, as well as the rest of the biome without using the shield to unlock the Invincible trophy. Next up we return to the Ancient Depths and complete the next Nightmare Strand before going on to defeat Bastion. It's worth finishing each of these repeated cycles in full, instead of quitting right after the Nightmare Strand is done, since we still need the Carcosan Cartographer trophy for surviving 33 expeditions while using modifiers. We move straight onto the Nightmare Strand in the Shattered Descent and unlock the Reinforced Carapace trophy for collecting 20 integrity augments. We defeat Rabdun and take a shortcut from the Shattered Descent straight to the Desecrated Fortress, where we unlock the Eclipse's Gift trophy for collecting 70 halcyon and complete the Desecrated Fortress Nightmare Strand. We move on to the Acolyte's Haven, but end up missing the Nightmare Strand completely. After quickly defeating the Shepherd, restarting the biome and completing the final Nightmare Strand, we unlock the trophy for completing all 7 Nightmare Strands. We then go for the Fatal Triptych trophy, which requires us to die 3 times in a single cycle. To do this, we go back to the Nightmare Strand in the Ancient Depths and get ourselves killed. We come back to life using Second Chance and then complete the Nightmare Strand to unlock another Second Chance that we can use. Once again we get ourselves killed and use the Second Chance to come back, and then kill ourselves for a 3rd time for the trophy to unlock. We enter a quick cycle of the Shattered Rise and unlock the Spread the Cost trophy for landing 7 consecutive shotgun blasts with 100% pellet accuracy by focusing fire on a mini-boss. We also defeat the Prophet after reaching maximum corruption and complete the cycle to unlock the War Within trophy. Heading back to the Yellow Shore, we do a bit of farming and after a few minutes unlock the Never Enough trophy for collecting 20 halcyon. We return to the Shattered Rise to start grinding 25 kills with each weapon and power, and at the same time attempt to dispatch 30 enemies using overdrive during a single cycle. After clearing the Shattered Rise with a focus on using overdrive as often as possible and using as many different weapons and powers as we can, we head down into the Ancient Abyss where we unlock the Overdriven trophy for dispatching 30 hostiles using overdrive during a single cycle. As we make it back to the Shattered Descent, we have a total of 450 kills out of the required 475 kills needed for the full Arsenal trophy. While at a monument, we notice the Impasser crossbow available, which is a variant of the crossbow that we don't recognise. And it turns out we haven't actually used it at all in the game so far, and that explains why we have exactly 25 kills remaining for the trophy. Using the Impasser crossbow, we enter the Nightmare Strand and quickly get the 25 kills that we need, and finally unlock the full Arsenal trophy. We now only have 4 trophies left to get before the platinum is ours. One trophy we still need is the Counterman trophy, for staggering 2 hostiles simultaneously with 1 parry. So we head back to the Yellow Shore in search of multiple enemies that fire Nova projectiles. Literally seconds into the biome, we come under fire from Nova projectiles that we parry back at the enemies straight away and unlock the trophy. During the same cycle, we lure some enemies over to a bunch of Nova projectiles, and by parrying one of them into a flying enemy, it falls to its death and we unlock the Fall from Grace trophy. With only 2 in-game trophies left to unlock, the platinum is in sight, and we begin grinding cycles of the Shattered Descent since it's the shortest biome in the game, and the Rabdun Overlord only has 1 health bar. At this point we've completed 22 expeditions, so we need to complete another 11 to unlock the Carcosan Cartographer trophy. We also still need to complete a biome without taking damage for the Untouchable trophy. On our first attempt, we complete the Shattered Descent in a handful of minutes and only get hit once on the way to the Overlord. In subsequent attempts though, we unfortunately weren't as lucky. It's a win-win situation though, since we still need to complete multiple cycles anyway, and more practice at the biome leads to more chance of us completing it without taking a hit. Eventually we reach 32 cycles completed, and haven't taken a single hit as we approach the Overlord arena, but to my surprise, a Harbinger teleports into the arena and wraps a shield around Rabdon. Needless to say, we didn't complete this cycle without taking a hit. Anyway, we defeat Rabdon once again and unlock the Carcass and Cartographer trophy. Now we only have one trophy remaining, and it's to complete a biome without taking direct or non-corruption damage, and without losing adrenaline. A few more failed cycles go by, but we eventually make it back to Rabdon, and using a combination of Power Blasts and Overcharge, we absolutely destroy him. We leave the arena and finally unlock the Untouchable trophy, followed by the Platinum. So there it is, the SAROS Platinum is unlocked, and other than the unclear tracking on the full Arsenal trophy and the Untouchable trophy at the end, the Platinum was pretty straightforward and far easier than the Platinum in Returnal, since there weren't nearly as many collectible trophies or trophies tied to RNG. So anyone who made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for how late this one is, by the way. I purchased all my games on disc, and my order for SAROS was lost in transit, so my copy ended up arriving like a week later than it should have. In my RE9 video I said I'd be making a video on the upcoming 007 First Light, but the more I see of that game, the less interested I seem to be getting, so a Platinum video is most likely off the table for that one. However, what I will be playing at the end of May and going into June is the PS5 disc version of Red Dead Redemption 1, so you can expect a Platinum video on that game to release towards the end of June. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.